In the last video that we discussed DSP, we went on about the copyright strikes that a lot of detractors have experienced or experiencing now, due to the fact it's done by a malicious follower of Phil and just doing it because, oh, I don't know, because one of his videos got age restricted and that person didn't really like it very much. And then you got Phil just sitting there pretending that he was a humanitarian towards the detractors, saying that he was trying to help them, but they kept saying over and over to go get a lawyer, go start a lawsuit over at YouTube. Because it's all good in the end. In reality, it does nothing. It's just Phil just talking in circles. But on this day, it was known as the DSP Reacts Day. A place where most will go, but their mind will be dead before they even know it. A perpetual flatline where they're still breathing, but everything else is dying on the inside. But for some others that dare to venture forward, it's a psychoanalysis of what makes a man tick. But we're not going to discuss any of that. Instead, we're going to go over the dumb shit that he said throughout his podcast.
It's good, entertaining stuff. The people that are showing up for the playthrough, listen, the playthrough's not getting nearly as many views as my other stuff I'm doing. But the people that are showing up are having a ton of fun. We're engaging, we're having good conversation, we're talking about the game and the culture of Hawaii, which is really cool because we're not just talking about Japanese culture anymore. Now we're actually talking about the culture of Hawaii.
I just love the fact that he's deluding himself into believing that his Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth streams are fun and entertaining and engaging, but yet he knows nothing about the Hawaii culture. He doesn't know anything about Japanese culture. He just doesn't know about culture in general, but yet he's deluding himself yet again, believing that everyone is having a fun time, but no one really is.
One thing that happened last night in the game, I was not expecting them to address, and they did. So all these years, I've been talking about how in Japanese culture, there's this weird thing where they are so hyper-focused on career and their jobs and their making money and that level of success that a lot of Japanese people don't focus on personal relationships. And that's why in Japan you have entire industries based on this, such as the hostess or host cafes, the cabaret clubs, where you're going in there, you're drinking, you're eating, you're buying stuff for this date who isn't really a date. It's a virtual relationship. You know it's not real, you know it's not going to amount to anything, but you go in there and you dump all this money on it, right?
Well, Phil, you forget to realize that the majority of Japanese culture, they are actually taught and they're actually raised to becoming workers. They don't really have time for anything else. But then there are some people that are called neets who don't really have a job, but they stay at home and just do whatever the fuck they want to. Basically their own hobbies. But yet, he's gonna go onward to talk about the cabaret clubs, even though that's like one of the things for Japanese culture. It's for social interaction with somebody. But apparently, Phil doesn't seem to understand anything about going out and interacting with people in and out of its entirety. But yet he wants to sit there going that it's weird, that he just finds it completely disgusting, and every single time that there's a cabaret club, he wants to skip it as quickly as possible because, oh my god, big Japanese titties, I better avert my eyes, I'm married.
It's always been a part of the Yakuza games that I was always like blown away that this exists in Japan. Like,
well, no shit, Phil. The whole entire thing of Yakuza / Like a Dragon is based around Japanese culture. This is coming from the guy who proclaims he knows a lot about Japanese culture, but he doesn't know jack shit about culture.
I can't believe it's part of their real culture. It's wild to me, because here in the United States, it's something, you would never even think to do.
Phil, there are things called strip clubs. There are things called whorehouses. Those things existed, Phil, and they still kind of do.
Go on a virtual date and spend, hundreds to thousands of dollars for what?
Phil, do you not know anything about Twitch? I mean, there are Twitch thoughts for a reason. How people would simp over somebody and just toss over their life savings to this one person, hoping that they would date them. I mean, for God's sakes, Phil, you want to keep talking about all this shit about how you don't see this in America, but you see this in America. It just looks a little bit different.
You're getting nothing out of it, right?
But then again, people give you money all the goddamn time. What are they getting out of it? Oh, what is that? Some emotes? A little crown badge? And for the chance for actually, for Phil to berate you and call you dumb? Oh, that's a great fucking bargain.
Last night, one of the plot lines in Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth was that a Japanese person, one of these guys who's gullible and likely would have been one of the people to drop tons of money at, say, a hostess cafe in Japan, is getting scammed by literally everyone in Hawaii.
Oh my god, so it's essentially just like you, Phil, how you essentially scam everybody to giving you money. I mean, for God's sakes, it is your life story when you think about it.
Everyone around him is asking for money for something different.
Oh, yeah, this is definitely just like Phil, going around just asking for money for different shit. Parents are dying, has to go see them in Connecticut. The house is broken, give me money. Oh, give me money so I don't go to jail for not paying my taxes. Save my house so I can pay my fucking mortgage. Give me money for some positive news. Or just X, Y, and Z of all the times that Phil has sat there begging people for money over and over and over and over again. And yet he'll just keep constantly begging for more. As soon as he hits that amount, keeps wanting more.
One girl puts a lei around his neck and gives him directions to his hotel and asks for a donation. One guy has a parrot land on his shoulder, takes a picture, and then asks for a donation. A woman gives him a t-shirt, says it's free, but then asks for a donation for the shirt. So basically it's not free.
Huh, sounds like a cult to me.
There's even a cop who claims he saw him jaywalking across the street and says, I'll let it slide if you donate to the police department. It's like, what?
Hey, Phil, do you not understand that this is actually a satire about American culture due to the fact that there are cops out there that'll just do anything for a bribe? Oh, yeah, I saw you do this, but if you give me money, I'll look away from it. Again, Phil, it's all based around American culture now, and it's basically mostly satire here.
So, essentially what they're saying, this is social commentary. They're saying that the Japanese people are sadly gullible and will fall for these schemes. And 100% the plot line of this guy, he's starting to have a romantic feeling for the girl who gave him the lei, but she's just basically using him for money. And you just cannot help but make the parallel comparison to the hostess club businesses in Japan. And you're like,
I just love the whole entire thing where it's just like, oh, hey, there are things that happen in America and you're calling it social commentary, but yet you go back to Japanese culture for some fucking reason. For God's sakes, Phil, you're in Hawaii in the game.
yeah, I mean, are they not being self-aware in this mission and saying we're aware of what it is and it's kind of pathetic?
Then again, Phil, this is coming from a guy, you, who has no self-awareness, and by a single time you do have a sense of self-awareness, your mind snaps.
I'm just saying, that can't be healthy for their culture, for their minds, to have an entire industry set up that it's all fake and all it does is basically takes money away from people who should be having real meaningful relationships and can't, but it takes advantage of them. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, this is definitely just sounding a lot like a DSP gaming stream due to the fact that he'll just pretend that he's this nice, lovable, chill, interactive, robust commentator streamer, and yet all of a sudden is you don't give him money, he just snaps at you for no fucking reason. Again, this is entirely just like what Phil is describing to himself, but yet he has no self-awareness to actually, put two and two together.
The equivalent of that to me, no exaggeration, would be these fucking streamers.
Oh god, oh no, he's gained some self-awareness here.
Unlike Twitch, freaking Amaranth and Pokimane, and I know they're leaving Twitch or have left Twitch, but you know what I'm saying? These women who portray themselves in a certain way.
Oh great, so now he's going over to like Twitch streamers, the Twitch thoughts as people like to call them, even though granted, what he's saying is somewhat correct, maybe 1% of it, but the rest of it, he doesn't even know why. He just seems to think that they just go over to other streaming sites because, I don't know, they could go scam some more people into giving them money, when in reality, they're leaving Twitch because they're not satisfied with the agreement given to them. So they're offered money by other streaming sites to, promote their site. I mean, for God's sakes, Phil, grabbing the bag as you proclaim that they're doing, but yet you're not putting parallels together.
To almost make you think like they care about you in that way.
Sounds like you.
Like a relationship.
Sounds like you entirely.
Just to take money from you, right? Only they're doing it to an audience of thousands at once and raking in millions of dollars in benefits.
But yet, you're not raking in millions upon millions of benefits, and yet you're jealous that a lot more people are getting more attention than you are, and you're just saying that, these Twitch streamers, these greedy little whores, these content creators.
And it's like, that's the evolution of it. The hostess club then became the online streamer, right?
How the fuck do you know about any of this, Phil? You're just talking out of your ass again. Did you even look up anything on Google? The differences between a hostess club and a fucking online Twitch stream? Or then again, this is the guy who doesn't know anything about culture, but is feigning intelligence.
And then think about that, how much safer that is, because you're not in person with someone who could be crazy or whatever.
But then again, though, Phil, you are the definition of fucking crazy, insane as it were. But again, you think that you're better than everyone else and that we're the crazy ones.
It's just wild to me, you know, that this is the situation that humanity is in. So anyway, that was interesting. That's something that we discussed last night. Check out the videos.
I'm not gonna check out any of the fucking videos, but what does this have to do with fucking humanity? Like, what the fuck? Are you trying to pretend that you're philosophical? Even though you never are. But, for God's sakes, Bill, just... Oh my god, my head already hurts, and I barely even started.
Brainlet says, do YouTube channels that make content solely based off your own content bother you? And if so, do you think you will ever do anything to try and stop the channels? First of all, if a channel's literal source of content is me, that's pretty pathetic. If you have absolutely nothing creative to do, you have nothing to offer an audience but to talk about me and make fun of me, that's sad.
How is it sad, Phil? Is it more sad than a guy pretending that he loves video games and tries to scam his own audience out of money? I mean, for God's sakes, Phil, I would rather watch detractors that makes content solely on you other than your own streams where you're just constantly begging people for money, berating your own audience, and just pretending that you have a passion for something when you have no aspirations to get better and improve, and you're just going to sit there constantly begging, holding up your cup, and just looking ever more pathetic.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if I was one thing that the person commented on or did, that I can understand. But if you're literally just 100%, let's restream Phil every day, let's make fun of Phil every day, let's slander Phil every day. I mean, that's a loserish mentality. I can't believe anyone would even watch that. How could you follow a loser?
I love the fact that you immediately want to say all the things that all these detractors are talking about is slander when it's coming straight out of your own fucking mouth. And they're just pointing out your hypocrisies. But yet, we're the fucking losers here. We're the ones that don't have anything better to do with our time than just talk about you. Phil, do you not understand? Whenever we're done talking about you, we disconnect from you and move on with our fucking lives. All you worry about is how much you're going to make on your YouTube paycheck, how much you're going to get from your fans, how you're going to pay the Scopely bill, your grocery bill every single time that you don't get enough money, and how everything else has to revolve around you. But if someone talks about something else in your own chat, you get angry about it. I'm sorry, Phil, but if you're going to talk about how we're fucking losers, take a look in a fucking mirror and reevaluate yourself.
This is someone who all they have to do is defame somebody. That's it.
No, Phil, the only person that's defaming themselves here is entirely you. It is always going to be on you because you're your own worst enemy here. But you don't seem to realize it because you have no self-awareness.
They didn't. There's been people out there who've done this, and then they tried to do their own content, and it failed miserably.
How did you know that it fails miserably, Phil? How the fuck do you even know? Do you look after these people thinking that, they don't talk about me anymore, they're going to move on, do something else, they're failures, they're not going to do anything about it? I mean, for God's sakes, Phil, most people that don't want to make content on you anymore, they don't even make content anymore entirely. Instead, they move on to do other things with their own personal lives. For God's sakes, Phil, us losers, as you like to call us, have personal lives outside of this.
No one will watch them do their own content because they have no charisma. They have no talent. All they're good at is being toxic.
Coming from the guy who has no talent, who is constantly toxic and has no charisma. But yet he thinks he has that riz to pull over the wolves over everyone's eyes in his own audience. But the detractors, oh my god, Phil. The detractors already know that you're full of shit.
So all they actually get popularity for is dumping on me, okay?
But then again, though, Phil, you kind of deserve it because you keep talking and talking and talking, and you never once think about anything that you say that comes out of your mouth as intelligent. But you believe it to be intelligent.
Now, would I ever do anything about those people? No. Because, first of all, you have to understand something. Legally, everything's just a gray area. There have been very few situations where someone's gone to court or sued about any of this stuff. Could you argue that someone using my content without my permission is fair use? Yes.
But every single time that people have made this say don't plays, or they made clips about you, that it's not fair use and that it's breaking the fucking law. Or just anybody making content, even what I'm doing, a commentary style video, that it's still quote unquote breaking the law because I'm using your image, even though what I'm doing is fair use. But again, delude yourself into believing that you know what fair use is, when in reality, you really fucking don't.
But with the level of defamation, slander, or however you want to categorize it, that's thrown at me on a daily basis, technically, if I wanted to, would I have a case against a lot of these people? Yes.
Hey, Phil, I thought you said you weren't going to do anything about it. You said no, and now all of a sudden you flipped it in a few fucking seconds by saying, yes, I could do something about it. Problem is though, Phil, if you try to sue any of the detractors out there, all thousands of people, as you like to say, are detractors, then you're gonna lose the cases every single fucking time though, because of fair use. That is the reason why most of these court cases can be immediately dismissed, because fair use.
I absolutely legally would. I can tell you I've spoken to a lawyer about it, and the lawyer said yes.
A lawyer would not tell you, yes, you could sue somebody. The lawyer would actually ask a lot more questions. What grounds are you trying to sue someone for? Do you have any evidence to back this up? Have you said any of these things that these people are slandering you for? The lawyer will just ask a lot of fucking questions, Phil. They're not going to immediately outright say yes. Unless they're a really shady lawyer that thinks that, oh, I can just bring him on in, sucker him in, because this fool's money just sounds so good.
Absolutely have a case. The problem is, you can't just have YouTube stop it. You would have to, like, for example, let's say there was someone who was egregious. What if there was someone, and this hasn't happened, by the way, what if someone literally was saying, Darkside Phil's a murderer?
But then again, though, Phil, you did kill T, so rip T for that one. And you also killed any hopes and dreams that Cat has ever fucking had. Same thing with the Leanna, but Leanna actually grew brain cells and escaped your fucking cult. So, again, you are a murderer, but just a metaphorical one.
He's a bloody murderer.
Oh, god damn it. Do you think that you're a part of the fucking UK by calling a bloody murderer?
Now, that's really messed up. And it's egregious to see.
How is that messed up, though, Phil? What if someone just said, oh, yeah, he's a murderer, that he's anything, that he's a shoplifter? Someone could just say anything and everything just to try to say something. Then again, you like to think that every single time that a detractor jokes about you, that it's serious. Like, for God's sakes, Phil, how much copium did you snort before coming onto the stream?
Say that unless you have evidence, right? But just like everything on the internet, people could say whatever they want on YouTube and get away with it. If that were the case, you could sue them.
Then again, though, Phil, a lot of people on YouTube cannot say whatever the fuck they want. Granted, freedom of speech is a thing, though, but there are some limitations to what people can actually say about it. But Phil's deluding himself to believe that he can just say whatever the fuck he wants and have no repercussions done to him. Even though there's a lot of things that he has said that repercussions have done to him, and yet he's pushing the blame onto someone else.
For slander, or I forget if it's slander or defamation. It's one or the other. I always get the two confused.
How are you going to get that confused, Phil? Slander is a form of defamation, only the spoken part. Libel is the written part. Saying that defamation and slander, you're just saying a type of defamation. You're thinking that defamation and slander are two different things. God damn, how stupid are you?
And if I sued them, then YouTube would take down their content, okay? The problem is, there's literally so many people on a daily basis that say messed up stuff about me that is not true.
Even though most of the shit that we're seeing is coming directly from you.
Or is based on this tiny little fact that then they extrapolate into complete nonsense that's not true. You know, take this one little thing that happened on stream, then add 17 hours of just hypotheses and conspiracy to say this is what it really is when it's not.
Phil, that's not slander then, though. They're just theories. Slander is not a theory. Slander is just saying a lot of things about you that's not true, but yet you seem to misconstrue what a theory or slander, what they really are. But again, I'm just surprised that he did not say nugget of truth. That was like one of his big catchphrases was nugget of truth, and he just pissed that away.
That's considered defamation or slander.
No, it's not. It is considered a theory.
In some countries, it's illegal completely. In the country of India, you can't even do it. if you do it, you will go get shut down and arrested and sued into oblivion.
No, this is where I actually put some research into this. In India, in a criminal case of defamation, the most that you'll get out of it is 2 years and a fine. However, if this is a civil case of defamation, the plaintiff has to prove that what this person is saying is actually slander and not true. Again, though, he wants to sit there and just make up a lot of bullshit about other laws in countries that he doesn't even do research on. Google exists for a reason.
And that's why in India, you don't see this kind of shit ever happen. They don't allow it over there. Their whole legal system is anti-defamation.
Do you even know what you're saying right now, Phil? Did you do any lick of research? Oh, of course not. He is going by what he believes to be the case with the source of making it the fuck up. Now it's glub, 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 delusion juice. Yummy.
The problem is, so many people have jumped on this bandwagon, all right, that I could never be able to go after them all. I mean, the best I could ever do would be to try to find maybe the most egregious person that said the most nonsense about me over the years and go after them. But even then, the thing you don't understand is that most of my haters and detractors are not big-time guys on YouTube. Let's say I singled out one person who I felt really was harmful to me and my business for what they had said over the years, and I sued them for defamation or slander, whatever it is. You gotta basically go after them and not only get their content taken down, but then you gotta go after them for damages. Like, realistically, dollar sign them out. How much did they hurt your reputation? How much did they do this or that? How do you figure that out?
You don't, because this whole thing about it is fucking stupid, though. Unless you actually had to go to fucking therapy and you're covering the damages, aka the therapy bills. Different story, though. But coming from you, a guy who doesn't go to therapy, that constantly believes that everything else can just be solved with money and suing people at this particular point because, you know, copyright strikes and la-di-da-di-da. But Phil's just gonna sit there and just say, if I could just sue one person out of the entirety of the detractor community, oh, I could just guarantee you that everything could be shut down. If this is what he's deluding himself into believing, he's fucking dumb. Like, you're going after one guy when multiple people in the detractor community could rise up and just go after you. Phil, your plan is not very solid, and you didn't think this through. Maybe another bottle of Grey Whale gin can actually, oh, I don't know, jog it a little bit.
And for every one person you sue, if there was 100 others doing it, it's like a drop in the bucket. And sadly, the way the legal system's set up, you would have to go after all of them.
Yeah, I would love to see you try suing me, Phil, because guess the fuck what? You would just lose the case.
To shut them all down, because even if you shut down one, there's going to be another 99. Do you see? So it's kind of like the Hydra. If there's a Hydra out there, and it's attacking you, and you chop off one of its heads, well, now instead of having 3 heads, it grows 2 more, and now it has 4.
Wait, huh? What?
Well, now instead of having 3 heads, it grows 2 more, and now it has 4.
3 heads, grows 2 more, has 4. Phil, you're sucking at math! That's 6! Not 4! God damn it, Phil, just move on.
From what I've seen over the years, the best way to go about this kind of nonsense is very simple. You just ignore it. You can't do much about it. There is no real... This is still the Wild West of the internet. As much as people want to pretend like, oh, the internet is safe and there's laws hashed out, there's nothing.
What the fuck are you talking about, Phil? Didn't you say back in the day that the internet was the wild, wild west? And now it's not that anymore? And now you're just saying that it's now the wild, wild west when it comes to anything about it? I mean, Phil, you can't really corroborate your own stories with one another. Also, you saying that you're going to ignore it, nice fucking trying to say that you're trying to ignore it when you're just talking about detractors right fucking now.
And I mean it too. How is DMCA, copyright, abused so regularly on a daily basis? Because the laws are draconian. They're not written for the current internet, and they don't apply to it. So now everyone's just trying to fly by the seat of their pants figuring out how to handle it, when in reality we have no legal guidelines on how to really do copyright stuff on the internet.
Phil, you could just look this up on Google to figure out how to work around the DMCA or how to actually fight back on it. But the problem is that you want to believe that it's draconian, that it's archaic, that the laws aren't made for the current era, even though laws can be constantly changed in the modern era. But again, you don't understand how laws work. So stop pretending you know how the law works.
And it's the same thing here with this slander or defamation or whatever you want to call it. Okay? Essentially, there's just nothing that can be done about it in its current form. Maybe one day, in 100 years, when everyone has been so toxic on the internet and people are really significantly getting their lives destroyed as a result of it, right?
I mean, Phil, didn't you have some of your whales give you a shitload of money and their lives are completely destroyed because of you? How they had to take out loans just to make do? And also had to go through their own bankruptcies because of you? Do you not understand that you also destroy people's lives and that you actually fuck with people's heads? But yet you're going to believe that all the detractors are just toxic towards everybody. When in reality, you don't know a damn thing about detractors at all.
Maybe then something will be done. Laws will be put in place. Safeguards will be put. YouTube won't allow it anymore. If you report a level of harassment, they'll shut it down. Right now, nobody cares. YouTube doesn't shut anything down. You know what they say? Go ahead and sue. And if you sue, then we'll shut stuff down, and that's it.
They don't say anything about suing, Phil. They say seek legal counsel, but never in their fucking whole entire guidelines or in their entire forms or canned responses do they ever say to sue them. Like, seeking counsel is one thing, but suing is completely fucking different. Again, you're paraphrasing and over-exaggerating what YouTube tells you and tells everyone else because you believe that this is all correct in your head, when in reality, you try telling that to an actual fucking lawyer and they would just laugh in your face.
YouTube doesn't want to be a middleman involved in any of it. They feel, because there's this law that protects them in the United States against liability for uploads, they feel they're not responsible for anything on their site. If you report it, then, you know, they'll go after it, but only if you report it and you also have a lawsuit attached to it. Because there's been people who've gone out there and reported stuff that's been very negative, and YouTube does nothing. They don't care.
Even though, granted, you could say the same thing about you, Phil, how people have gone after you and they've done nothing. Even though what you have said is worse than what any other detractor has ever said about you. What we say about you is spreading awareness of how toxic and negative you truly are and how evil you could be towards your own audience. But again, you want to delude yourself to believing that you're the victim in all this and blah, blah, blah.
Only if you're going to sue do they then care and take it down. So, I'm not, first of all, I'm not a litigious guy. I'm not some guy that gets so upset that people are talking shit about him. At least not anymore. You know, maybe back in the day, in 2011, when This Is How You Don't Play started, yeah, it irked me. Because back then, here was a guy, I'm trying to make a living. I'm a one-man show. There's no guidelines on how to do it right. And I'm really busting my ass. At this point in my life, you know, I'm working insane amounts to pump out videos for people.
No, Phil, you're rushing to play through every single game that you ever got to try to make a paycheck out of it. In reality, it's not even hard work because there's no real editing involved. It's just record, stop, record, stop, record, stop, mass upload, hope for ka-ching to happen. And you got mad that somebody didn't like making a video about you that actually spent more time and put in more effort into making their video that This Is How You Don't Play. Shout out Evil AJ, the OG, for it. And you didn't like it. And what do? You insulted the guy, said he deserved to be in a mental ward for being crazy. And you were just so fucking worried about your own reputation and your own business that paranoia seeped in and you were trying to do whatever it takes to get people's content taken down. Again, last video that I covered, you actually told people to go take down people's videos, and you actually have a history of doing so. Also, you want to sit there and say that, oh, I never got legitimately mad. Then what the fuck was that freak out that you had because someone brought up you saying that your life story was just like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, and you just snapped on people because it got so fucking much in your head that you just screamed at everybody. What about that, Phil?
Pass me, bitch.
Now you got people saying all of a sudden, like overnight, my content's crap. Oh, you never should have deserved success. You're a joke and la la la. And I reacted poorly to it, right?
No, Phil, you didn't react poorly to it. You got defensive. You believe that if anyone made content about you and they said one negative thing about you, that they were idiots and they needed to go get the white coats sent after them. You were so defensive. And this was way even before This Is How You Don't Plays existed. You still had people telling you that you sucked at gaming. And what did you do? Reacted like a fucking child. Insulted them for no fucking reason.
And so back then, it became the running meme to say, oh, Phil sucks, and here's another video about another case where he sucks. Today, I don't give two shits about these people. I don't.
Then why are you talking about us if you don't care? Just ignore us. Like you said that you constantly do, but you're not doing that.
All I want to do is I want to be here making my content for my audience. I call it curated content. Why? Because it's not content for the mainstream. It's not content for the masses. It's not intended to be. I'm not pumping out a YouTube video that's made to be virally popular, that's, you know, the worst moment in gaming ever with a stupid, oh, crazy face thumbnail on it. And, you know, I don't do that kind of content, and I never will.
Philly, the curated content part was not even done by you. Again, someone in your own chat told you what they believed curated content was, you ran with it, thought it was a great idea, and you started using it. Also, you saying that you're trying to make content for a certain amount of people, I'm sorry, Phil, but you're uploading videos to YouTube, which everybody could see it. Not just your curated audience, everybody can look at your content and see how garbage it is. You can see how terrible your gameplay is and how shitty your attitude is towards everybody. Also, you saying that you're not going to be that person that's like, oh yeah, the worst moment in gaming history. Homefront The Revolution called. They want you to take down that video where you said it was the worst game you've ever fucking played.
You know, I've never been that kind of a content creator. I have no intention of ever being that kind of a content creator.
But yet you still did it anyway, Phil. If you weren't that type of guy anymore, then just delete that video. Or delete many other videos where you said that this game sucks. Don't do your top 10 worst games anymore. Stop pretending to be like an award show, like the Game Awards, or anyone that does a top 10 of the best and worst games of a certain year. Just don't do that, Phil. Then you can actually say you don't do that anymore. But you're not going to stop doing that because you believe that people care about your opinions about it, or we're just going to shit on your opinions.
That's what I mean. I'm just happy to make the kind of content I enjoy making for my audience and just be successful at that as a small-time guy.
No, we see how you make your own content, Phil. You don't like you're enjoying any single part of it. You don't want to play the games that you're playing. You look constantly bored, and every single time you don't get your way in a video game, you snap at your audience, you say that the game sucks, the game devs don't know what they're doing, and any other factors that you want to throw in there because you're so fucking angry about it. Also, you being successful, I didn't know being an e-beggar was the definition of success.
I have no aspirations of blowing up or anything like that.
And that's the problem with you though, Phil, because you have no desire, you have no ambitions, you have no drive to push yourself forward or any chance to improve. You know what we call people that don't want to do any of that? Losers.
Therefore, let everyone out there say and do whatever they want about me, all right? I'm not going to sit here and combat it all. And the thing is, because I've had that laid-back attitude for many years now, there has now been allowed to be insane levels of conspiracy about me.
But then again, though, Phil, it's all based around theory. But you saying that you have a laid-back attitude is just fucking laughable. Just due to the fact that your attitude is not laid back. You have this paranoid aura around you that you're constantly on your toes, thinking about what people are saying about you, and you don't like it. And it's just building and building and building and building to the point where you can't take it anymore and you want to scream and lash out at your audience.
Because there's a difference between a drama video making fun of someone or a conspiracy video. And the vast majority of stuff that's now being put out about me is literal conspiracy.
It's all based around theory though, Phil, but a lot of people are saying a lot of shit about you because, again, we're not taking what you're saying out of fucking context. We're seeing what you are saying in its true entirety, and we're just reacting to it, Phil. Honestly, if you want to call it what it is, it's a reaction. That's what this is. But no, you want to label it as drama or conspiracy or whatever the fuck that you thought of while you were just drinking gin one night.
June the King is currently working on a documentary about me.
I'm sorry, I thought you didn't want anything to do with documentaries anymore. I mean, you had your chance with Mike Klum, you pissed that away, and now you're going, oh, June the King is making a documentary about me, and now what? Are you gonna hype this up too? Or are you just gonna be like, no, I'm not gonna do that documentary. I told him to stop doing it because it's gonna hurt my family.
But he's actually trying to approach it from a standpoint where he wants to neutrally cover everything that's been said about me. Can you imagine the task he has on his plate? He has to go through thousands of hours of crap about me to even figure out what any of it makes any sense. And you know, because again, how much has been said about me, how many things have been made up, and he has to like find a way to present it to make logical sense to an audience when you really can't, because a lot of it's just fucking insanity.
Phil, what you are saying right now is just pure fucking insanity. And a lot of people that actually are detractors have said points about you that are more logically sound than the shit that comes out of your fucking mouth. And you're saying that June the King's gonna go through all this content and try to make it flow logically. Then again, didn't you say the same thing about Frederick Knudsen, how he actually did everything right with his research, except he got some things wrong, and now it's outdated and no longer relevant?
I don't, at all, I don't envy that man. He's going to have a lot of work going into this thing he's trying to do about me. I can't, this is going to be like a 5-hour documentary.
Phil, Turkey Tom, again, love him or hate him, did a video about you that you despise because you didn't like the title. It took him about 2 hours and 10 minutes to actually make a full video about you, and it actually was logically sound. But you didn't like that, though. But you're gonna say that this whole entire thing is gonna be 5 hours, and you thought the whole thing with Mike Club was gonna take an hour? Phil, your whole entirety of your insanity and every saga that has been done about you, it's the Lord of the Rings extended trilogy 12 times over.
Because again, the funny part about it is I just sit here and I make my content and I ignore everything on the outside.
But yet you want to talk about detractors. Always.
Just alone in the last week, I'm almost positive there's been like 3 complete drama things that my haters have made about me, and I don't pay any attention to it.
Okay, so you only saw 3 of them. What were the drama things that apparently we were saying about you, Phil? Go on, tell us, what was the drama? Oh, right, because you're going to say that you ignored it, but yet you said 3 things about it. Okay, whatever you say, fucko.
You know, 3 big conspiracies that they made up and they've hyped, and they're clickbait video.
I thought that there was a difference between drama and conspiracy. Now you're saying they're drama videos instead of conspiracy videos. Which is it, Phil?
I don't care. I'm not going to go after those people.
This is like the 4th time he said that he doesn't care, but yet he clearly fucking cares.
It won't work. It'll be too expensive, too much time, frivolous. YouTube doesn't care. You know, there's a million things here about ever having this protected. It's kind of like you got to accept on YouTube that if you were going to ever make a living doing this, you're going to have people being negative about you. Now, if you blow up to a certain extent, you'll be immune.
Even though the big name people out there still have a troll base out there that they don't like them either. And the reason why they're more successful and they actually get through it when people are talking shit about them, they know to actually ignore it. Something that you are not doing. But yet you're constantly saying that, oh, if you're making a living on this, people are going to hate you. Phil, people are not making a living making YouTube videos about anything and everything. Instead, they do it as a hobby, and they already know full well that there's going to be people out there that are not going to like their content. They'll say that their editing sucks, their audio sucks, their takes suck. And you know what? As long as they know to ignore it or to take some of the criticisms that are given to them, not with a grain of salt, but as a way to help them improve, then they can actually make their own content and succeed further. Who knows? They might be the next biggest editor. They might be the next biggest Let's Player or video game reviewer. You never fucking know. But the problem is that you're just immediately putting everything else of saying they're going to make a living on this. People that make YouTube videos are making a living on this, when in reality, most people don't even care about the money making on YouTube. You love to generalize every single time.
I never got there. I got to the point where I was like on the precipice of possibly blowing up.
You were on the precipice. You almost had that with the Homefront the Revolution video. You know, the worst game you've ever fucking played. And you know what you did with that, Phil? You pissed away the money on a stupid staycation that you had with Leanna. And you never thought, hey, people like this, I should keep this going. Nope, just stop doing reviews altogether because nobody cares.
And then I didn't want to. I made a decision for myself that I wanted to stay true to who I was and make the content that I liked. I didn't want to take that extra step to be Mr. in the know, Mr. gets everything handed to him.
Even though you had everything handed to him.
Silver spoon in the mouth.
You had that with Machinima, Phil.
Free games left and right.
You had those.
Promotional opportunities all over.
You had those.
I turned them all down.
No, you didn't. You fucking did not do any of that. Machinima gave you Fallout 4, and you didn't even refuse it. You took it, played the game, and you made money off of it. And you even skipped Leanna's brother's wedding for it.
I had them. In 2011 and 2012, I was known as one of the top partners of Machinima.
But there were many other people out there that were actually better than you, Phil. But yet, keep deluding yourself that you were one of their top biggest people, the golden child, when in reality, you were just a turd painted gold.
And I was getting offered trips. I was getting offered games.
Yes, and you took them.
I was getting offered promotional opportunities.
Yes, and you took them.
And I turned them down.
No, you didn't.
I said, I don't want to be involved with this.
So E3 2012, you brought in John Rambo to be your little manservant, to carry your bags and to drive you, because my back.
I want to be true to me. I don't want people to think that when I play a game, it's because I'm getting paid to do it.
But every single time that you played games, whenever you were partnered with Machinima, you even said if you weren't getting paid, you wouldn't be playing it. So you were doing it for a fucking paycheck.
I want people to trust my opinion.
But then again, though, Phil, what have you ever offered to make people trust you? Every single time that you offer a complaint about a video game, it's not legitimate because you have no solutions for the problems that you're having. Instead, it's constant problems, no resolutions.
And I've had people like Turkey Tom make videos saying 10 years of failure. See, he didn't follow the trends. You're right. I didn't on purpose.
And then that's why you're a failure, Phil, because you didn't follow the trends. And now, 2024, you're trying to follow the trends when you're 10 years too late.
I didn't want to sell out and be like those people.
But yet, you tried selling out every single time that you get with the paid promotions, the Loot Crate, the Amazon, trying to get that paid promotional advertisements and the sponsorships.
And there are people who literally will just say, well, see, he missed out on grabbing the bag.
Even though you already grabbed the bag, Phil, but you grabbed too much of someone's bag, they got offended and punched you in the face.
And walking away, and he's a failure. I don't think so.
Phil, you are considered a fucking failure. Whatever you want to delude yourself into believing that what you have is successful, you're still a fucking failure. And you're just sitting there holding up your cup, begging for money every single time because you need to pay off the grocery bill.
I think that I'm just a different kind of person and a different kind of animal altogether as a content creator. And a lot of people just can't fathom that in their brains because their brains are very limited.
Okay, so now you're insulting people by calling them dumb. That they're not open-minded. Phil, what you are doing creating your own content, you're doing it with a past era method. You believe that what you are doing is successful when it really isn't, though, because how people make content, it evolves throughout time. They actually change their own methods, and most times it works. Sometimes it's experimental, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work, or it just doesn't work altogether. But you know what they do that you don't do? They actually go back to the drawing board to figure out what works and what doesn't. Meanwhile, you're taking the things that don't fucking work, and you're thinking that, oh, it works. It's a great business model. It's a great strategy. Begging for money, being an e-beggar, that's good. What other people look at that and they think, oh my god, this guy's a panhandler. Don't give him any money. But people are gullible and stupid enough to give you money.
They have a very limited concept of what success is in life, and they think...
I see what you are trying to do here, Phil, saying that they don't have the idea of the concept of success. When we see your form of success, and we immediately call it a failure.
That it's all based around money and clicks, and it's not.
Even though that's what you're trying to do. Every single time you play a AAA release, you're hoping that you get the big fucking clicks on it. Resident Evil 4 Remake was considered one of your best videos that you ever fucking done in 2023, and you're bragging about it. Meanwhile, other people out there that make content can actually get more fucking views on their own videos than you. Most of these people don't even have 200,000 subscribers. Some of them have way less than you, and yet can pull more views than you. But again, delude yourself into believing that you're successful.
They don't understand that what I do today, I love more than anything I've ever done before.
Yeah, but you look jaded and bored.
And is more meaningful to me and my audience than any kind of trash I could have put out there for the last decade, being one of the big YouTubers taking paychecks for everything.
But Phil, at least they have more financial stability, unlike you that's constantly sitting there going, guys, give me money. Give me the $50 tip goal. I need that to wear the glasses. I need the $50 for both my streams. I need $150. I need to look like a clown wearing the vest, the hat, and the glasses. I need all of this. You need the money because you're so based around greed. Now,
You see?
Yeah, we see it, Phil. Glub, glub, glub. Shut the fuck up.
So, it is what it is. But, hey, I'm happy. These people are going to constantly be talking about me, and there's nothing I can do about it.
But yet you're still going to talk about us while you're saying you're ignoring us.
And as much as you can argue that, hey, this is bad, Phil, because don't you understand that every day when someone's making a conspiracy up about you, this is something that looks negative towards you. You're right.
But how is it going to be negative, though, Phil? A lot of people that make the quote-unquote conspiracies, they're making theories about you. Again, you're considered like a reality TV show. The 90 Day Fiance, The Survivor, The Big Brother. You're considered like that because people have theories about what's going to happen next. Is it going to be negative or is it going to be positive? Who knows? Because no one is guaranteed tomorrow, and the future is pretty unpredictable.
I can't argue that, but at the same time, I'm still pertinent.
No, you're not. You're not pertinent at all. Who the fuck is actually working with you? I never see Moist Critical working with you. I don't see PewDiePie working with you. Markiplier. I don't see any other podcaster working with you. So how the fuck are you pertinent when nobody wants to work with you?
Like, I'm still pertinent every day. Why is it that a guy who gets a few hundred views on a stream and a few hundred views on each upload is in the mouths of giant YouTubers?
Because there's some things that you have done that is considered to be detestable, and there are some things they're trying to use as an example, and the best example they can think of is Darkside Phil.
Why does Moist Critical name drop me?
The reason why Moist Critical name dropped you, in quotes, was because people recommended to watch the scorn clip of you freaking out your audience because you weren't making money and that you were getting upset about it. And the other time that he actually brought you up was because someone who hates their own fan base. And he was talking about the iDubbbz, like, whole controversy or drama that was going on. But again, though, Phil, name drop the name of Darkside Phil from Moist Critical's mouth from someone that looks like John Wick and Jesus had a baby.
Why can't Keemstar stop talking about me?
Because he knows how to rile you up. Duh.
Right? It's interesting to think, right? It's like, this guy should be a nobody, but he's actually a somebody.
Phil, you're still a fucking nobody. You can pretend that you're somebody, but you're a washed up nobody.
There's probably a reason for that. All right? Maybe I did some things right over the years. People just can't, again, they can't understand that I didn't want to be what they became.
So, millionaires? Successful? I mean, clearly, that's something that you're never gonna be.
Anyway. No, I'm not going after anybody. Ever. Like, again, the only time ever is if someone egregiously was saying something horrendous. Like, I feels a murderer or something like that. I'd be like, fuck you, man.
Yeah, you'd be like, fuck you, man. But then again, you wouldn't even know the difference between literal and metaphor. You don't even know the difference.
No, that ain't gonna fly. But outside of that, there's no reason to ever go after anyone on YouTube for this stuff. I've never filed a lawsuit. I'm not going to. There's no point. It's never going to work regardless. Like I said, it's never going to happen. So,
but yet it didn't stop you from taking down other people's content. I mean, for God's sakes, Phil, I brought this up before. April 10th, your birthday of last year, where you showed your fucking takedown history, saying that you never did it, but you really did it. I mean, for God's sakes, you fucking hypocrite. I was gonna stop it there. But apparently there's a little interesting thing that went on during a React stream. Not necessarily DSP reacts, but the throwback ack. Like, for God's sakes, I wanted to know what it was. And it had something to do with his back. Love that, TV. Off the bat, I love the fact that Memology finds ways to actually make his content better. So, big ups, Memology.
this is great. I'm standing up, and you can see the reflection of my shorts.
What?
And you might be saying, why is he standing up and wiggling side to side? Because back then I had a really bad back injury.
No, because you love to sway back and fucking forth. Even before this quote-unquote back injury, you always swayed around. I mean, for God's sakes, that's kind of a trait of autism.
And when I was about to sit down for hours on end playing a game, I kind of wanted to stay on my feet before I played to try to like help adjust my back. And then I would sit down and start playing, and then I would take frequent breaks. Like today, I don't take frequent breaks, you know, maybe every hour. Back then, I would take breaks like between every part. Every 10, 15 minutes, I'd be getting up and walking around because of my back injury. So you guys didn't know that because I wasn't live streaming back then.
But you told a story about how you hurt your back in a car accident, and now you're saying that you don't take frequent breaks. People that have actual back problems would have to try to take more and more breaks. But again, though, Phil, this whole thing with your back injury just smells of bullshit, and it always had.
Yes, that's hilarious. Yes, that detractor meme of sway back and forth on the X and Y axis. You know how people make fun? I rock back and forth on the X and Y axis. Tip me.
Why would you bring up 2-Bit Bills by Darksea the Flow? Shout out to Darksea, but god damn it, I thought you didn't care about detractor content. But how is it you know about the lyrics of 2-Bit Bills? You 50-bit bitch!
I used to move around like that. Yeah, because I was in excruciating pain. Like no.
You still do it, Phil! You still sway around and look at that quarter deep. Shut up!
Exaggeration, there was shooting nerve pain up and down my legs and my back, or incredible numbness when I had my back injury that bad. So every time someone makes a joke about that and thinks it's funny, think about how I was going through excruciating pain trying to film content for people for free on the internet, and think about what kind of a person would make a joke like that.
Okay, I'll make the joke like that. Phil, every single time that you sway, you look like you're about to go into a state of fucking panic. You always do every single time. Swaying all around. Oh, these people couldn't believe me. People can't believe me, guys. Oh my god, the world is ending. Oh my god, please tip me.
Let's continue.
Right. New game. Adjust your brightness. Yeah. Okay. Loadout, I'm sure.
I just got a $6 tip from Harry Butthole.
I wouldn't take that, Phil. It could be so... Oh god, I'm not even going to continue that joke. It's so bad.
He says, you're talking about people making fun of your back injury. Reminds me how I used to make snort jokes, and then I got postnasal drip myself. I realized it's actually really frustrating to deal with. In my case, the jokes were always intended to be good and fun, but it's still rude. Here's the thing. You want to make fun of someone because they're terrible at a game. You know what I'm saying? You want to make...
Phil, you've had many people tell you that you suck at video games, and you took offense to it. Like they came in and murdered your family.
Fun of someone because of something they can affect. How about the fact that some people just can't change stuff about that? I don't want postnasal drip. Do you think...
But then again, though, Phil, there's a lot of things that you could do to treat it, but the problem is that you don't treat it. Instead, you make it worse.
I want to snort once in my life? No, I don't. But I have to.
No, you fucking don't. You can restrain yourself from doing so. And the whole thing about the snorts, though, again, smells of bullshit. Due to the fact that every single time that you had Cat on your streams, or you're talking to someone else, you're not snorting. The only time you ever snort is on your streams. And it is completely fucking abysmal sounding. And you keep doing it over and over and over and over to the point that it gets really irritating. And the reason why you do it is because you already know the detractors think that your snorts are disgusting.
You think I wanted to wobble back and forth? No, my back was messed up.
To wobble back and forth even though you still sway all around?
But people making fun of that, it's really dirty. That's one of the lowest things you can do.
How is that dirty, Phil? Making fun of the way that you move? Phil, you could capitalize off of it, but you're not going to. Instead, you're going to play the victim and go, that hurts my feelings.
Is to make fun of someone for something that they can't help, nor can they fix, right?
Even though there are plenty of things they could do to fix it, but the problem is that you don't want to. Playing the victim even fucking more.
Oh shit, I got my fucking effects with my TV on. I just realized. Hold on. Ignore this.
And remember, this is what Phil calls success. This was successful to him. Him fiddling around with TV settings when he could have immediately not have to deal with this with, oh, I don't fucking know, direct capture.
One of those stupid, it's hilarious. We were just talking about that today. How TVs have all these stupid settings that no one should ever use. So that TV that I had back then had true motion, which just created like motion blur. It looked like shit.
Even though you're trying to say that your quality now looks impressive, it looks great, even though it looks terribly awful.
Of course.
This game... Phil, what the fuck was that ooh for? Oh, you saw fire, and that's where your career's going? Straight to hell?
Just be honest.
From the dark, they
It should, up front, it should be like, this game will kick your ass, so fuck you.
There you go.
I mean, for God's sakes, Phil. I know this is like past Phil talking, but they did that. It's called Prepare to Die.
Within the flame.
4K Catman says, why is it okay to make fun of race when you can't change that? Because a generalized joke about a race or culture is just that. It's generalized. It's not targeted at one specific person. If you're making fun of me specifically because I'm wobbling back and forth because I'm in excruciating pain, that's cruel. If you're simply making a racial stereotype joke, you're not intending to make a directed insult towards someone. You're laughing at a community kind of a deal. You know what I'm saying?
Wait, Phil, what the fuck?
If you're making fun of me specifically because I'm wobbling back and forth because I'm in excruciating pain, that's cruel. If you're simply making a racial stereotype joke, you're not intending to make a directed insult towards someone. You're laughing at a community kind of a deal. You know what I'm saying?
Phil, you're just saying that racism is funny now. Making a racist joke about a group of people is worse than making fun of your bad fucking back. Like, Phil, I could make fun of your back, saying that you wobble like a fucking grandpa when you're 41. But you say that racism... God damn it. This is what you support, Phil. You support racist shit all the single fucking time. And you always support this. But yet, you're claiming that you change, or you're changing, that you don't do this anymore. But yet, again, the past still follows behind you, and you're still making racist jokes. You're saying that racism is okay. It's like, God damn it, Phil, you fucking moron.
That's different.
You're correct that it's different, but racism is worse. They're making fun of your snorting and backs.
And also, if you ever notice, my jokes about race were always meant to be funny and common, not
No, they were not fucking funny. They were insulting.
insulting. It wasn't like, oh, that one group is so bad and this other group is so much better. It wasn't like that at all.
Phil, you keep talking about how certain countries are bad. For fuck's sakes, recently, Argentina. Every single time you got the gifted memberships from Spanish-speaking countries, you hated it. God damn it, Phil. God fucking damn it. What the fucking idiot.
I don't like those kind of jokes, quite frankly. That's
But you still made them.
why I never went there with my commentary,
But you still did it anyway, Phil. Saying that you don't like it now still doesn't excuse the fact that you still made these fucking jokes.
nice try to get me in a gotcha moment. You look like a jackass.
Even though that this is a gotcha moment. Because you just admitted that racist jokes are not that bad compared to jokes about your back, which is worse compared to those. It's like, gotcha, Phil, you're a dumbass.
To await the end of the world.
It's gonna be the end of the world before I get to start playing this fucking game if you don't shut the fuck up.
Phil, this was not funny though, because it just shows that you're impatient, and you're still impatient.
Chains on there.
I need one more hit. I'm gonna die. There's no way I'm gonna kill him. I'm dead.
Phil, you did this shit. How's it that you forgot what you did?
Can't move.
Yeah, look, I couldn't
I'm
see.
dead.
Look at that terrible frame rate on
Yeah, no
PS3. You
life.
saw that, right?
I had no fucking life.
You saw how bad that frame rate was?
Even though the frame rate wasn't even a problem here, it was due to the fact that you sucked at this game.
The game went to like single-digit slideshow.
Alright, so there go all my souls.
No, it fucking didn't, Phil. Stop making up excuses.
Excellent.
This game runs really bad on PS3. Like, super bad.
All my souls are gone.
See, this would be today. First thing I'd do, take the armor right off so I'd be faster. I'd be running in circles around and beating the shit out of him.
But Phil, that's a bad idea though, due to the fact that your defense is gonna go way the fuck down and you're gonna be more easy to kill due to the fact you have no defense.
But back then I didn't understand it. I didn't even know you could move faster. I
yeah,
thought
yeah.
this was the speed
I
you're
knew
supposed
it.
to play at. So,
Again, Phil, this whole entire game of the Dark Souls series, or just any fucking video game ever, it plays to your own playstyle. You can play it however the fuck you want. The problem is that you're going by what other people are doing, and just believing that that way is the best, when in reality, it might not be for you.
Control your guy, it's kind of hard to fucking kill a giant boss that takes half your life I like how you also.
And he's just constantly looking at his chat. He's not looking at his fucking shitty ass gameplay. He's constantly staring at his chat, hoping that people would tip him or give him super chats. Or he could find someone to ban because, oh, the bad back jokes.
Also lose a quarter of your life just by jumping down to fight the boss.
You see what I mean when I say that Phil is his own worst enemy and his own best critic? Every single time that he's going through this fucking content of his own self, he thinks that it's the best content ever, when in reality, it's fucking not. A lot of people that look back at their own content, they could just look at it and go, wow, this was terrible. And they could look at their content now and be like, I've improved from many years ago to now. Which is something that Phil will never seem to understand.
Fun. We're up the same fucking staircase.
That's Miyazaki laughing at you. He's at home. He's like, ha 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 ha. I enjoy watching these first-time run playthroughs. Pathetic Americans trying to play my game. Ha 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 ha.
Oh, great. Now, way to do the almost ding-dong-die voice when it comes to how Miyazaki sounded. Like, great. Good job by saying that racism is bad and that's not you. But yet, look what you're doing, Phil. You fucking hypocrite.
Fuck you. Fuck you, wimpy Americans.
Yeah, fuck you, Phil. That joke was not funny. I didn't even fucking laugh.
That's funny. Didn't laugh.
This whole entire streaming day was just pathetic. Due to the fact that Phil had no self-awareness when he was talking about the whole thing about Twitch streamers, how they take advantage of their own audience, but he wanted to put that onto someone else. It's like, for God's sakes, Phil, you constantly do this to your audience on an everyday fucking basis. Stop pretending that everyone else does it worse than you. And then he goes on to talk about how he wants to ignore detractors, but yet he has a desire to try to come after detractors by suing them, when he has no real intentions or any grounds to sue anybody. But he wants to delude himself to believing that he has a case, even though he really fucking doesn't. Just to top that all off, though, when he's going over his Dark Souls react stream, he wanted to say the whole thing about his bad back, and if you make jokes about it, that you're essentially worse than Hitler than making fucking racist jokes, because those are A-O-fucking-K, but he wants to keep going on and on about how those jokes aren't funny anymore, yet wants to make a Japanese voice for Miyazaki that Americans are having a hard time with Dark Souls. It's like, Phil, learn to actually think about what you're saying before you actually act on what you're about to say, because it comes across as very hypocritical at best. I'm just gonna end this off with a Phil prayer before, again, I have to pick up my bottle of vodka and just down it. Deliver us from the dents, deliver us from the pay pigs, deliver us from the pignosis. May we never become dented. May we never become a beggar like Darkside Phil, and just, for the love of fucking God. If you see someone on the internet that's trolling you and being an asshole to you, ignore it. Do what Phil says that he wants to do to every single detractor, but doesn't do. Ignore and move on. But thank you for watching this video. Have a good rest of y'all's day, rest of y'all's night. Keep it really beautiful, people. I'll see you in the next one.